Sophie Cunningham just took the gloves off and maybe even threw them into the stands after the Indiana Fever's total meltdown against the Phoenix Mercury. From brutal on-court numbers to a post-game truth bomb that could rattle the locker room, Sophie did not come play nice. Let's break down exactly what went wrong and what she really said.
Just what does it mean to come back here and be able to play or just as an opponent tonight?
Yeah, AZ was good to me, but I'm way happier where I'm at now. It was good to see people. It was fun to play in front of some fans, but for me, I'm way happier in Indiana.
The Indiana Fever's road trip didn't just end. It crash-landed like a flaming piñata at a kid's birthday party. Final score? A face-melting 95-60 humiliation courtesy of the Phoenix Mercury. As if that wasn't enough, they lost 2 more players to injury and got a spicy little post-game roast session from WNBA. But wait, Sophie Cunningham was not about to let that slide. In this breakdown, we'll spill every last drop of tea on what actually went down in Phoenix, Sophie's relentless attempts to drag her team to victory, and the Volcana podcast bomb she dropped about how WNBA really ditched the Fever. Let's just say, her words about professional courtesy and saying goodbye might have set the internet on fire.
That had to have been one of, if not the most embarrassing loss of the season for the Indiana Fever so far. We lost to the Atlanta Dream earlier in the season, 77-58. We lost to the Valkyrie earlier in the season, 80-61. And tonight, against the Phoenix Mercury, we lose 95-60.
You could tell the Fever were in trouble before the game even settled in, because in the first quarter, they couldn't hit water if they cannonballed off a cruise ship. Bricks were flying, passes were getting intercepted like NFL pick-sixes, and Phoenix had already turned the game into a runaway before fans were halfway through their nachos. This wasn't a slow start. This was a live-action tutorial on how to implode offensively. The stats are like a horror movie for Fever fans. Indiana shot a tragic 34.3% from the field, clanked their way to a miserable 7-4-30 from deep, and coughed up the ball 22 times, gift-wrapping Phoenix 42 points. When you're giving up more points off turnovers than you're scoring from beyond the arc, buddy, you're not just losing, you're writing your own crime scene report.
Does this team practice? What I saw tonight looked like what I saw a month ago. Looked what I saw 3 weeks ago. Absolutely no offensive game plan. I thought this motion offense is when it's nobody's night in and night out. Everybody's allowed to have a night. If Kelsey Mitchell doesn't play well, it needs miraculous efforts from the rest of the team to pick this up. Sophie Cunningham played great tonight. Kelsey Mitchell had a bad game. Bad game. Where's everybody else?
Then came the real gut punch, the kind where you're already down and someone just throws in a bonus kick for fun. Sydney Carlson went down with a non-contact knee injury, and the whole arena held its breath. Before you could even process that, Ari McDonald started hobbling around like someone had swapped her sneakers for flip-flops. And just like that, the Fever's already thin rotation went from barely holding together to held together by duct tape and hope. Watching 2 key players go down in a blowout is like getting your ice cream knocked out of your hand after you already dropped your hot dog.
Steph, obviously, Sid had that injury and Ari left, I think, in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
What's the status of
Well, it's Sid's left knee, Ari's right foot, and we'll get some more evaluation when we get home tomorrow and see where we are.
Phoenix didn't just win. They treated the Fever like a tutorial level on how to dominate basketball 101. Out-rebounding Indiana 44-32, they made the Fever look like they were searching for the instructions while the Mercury were already on expert mode. Every possession was chess for Phoenix and checkers for Indiana. The Mercury's defensive pressure was like a full-court panic button, forcing chaos that the Fever never, ever found a way out of.
Sophie Cunningham making her return to Phoenix, and it seems as if nobody on our team other than Sophie Cunningham felt any type of emotional connection to this game.
Sophie Cunningham was basically the lone warrior in Fever colors who showed up ready for battle. While everyone else was playing like they'd accidentally wandered into the wrong gym, Sophie came out guns blazing, dropping 18 points with laser-focused shooting. Meanwhile, her teammates were still trying to figure out which side of the ball they were supposed to be on. She was diving for loose balls, muscling her way through defenders, and trying desperately to keep this thing from turning into a 40-minute comedy sketch. But you can't fight an army by yourself with just a butter knife. Even the highlight reel tells the story. Sophie cans a deep three, then another, and suddenly the only thing keeping Fever fans from changing the channel was her hustle. And here's the kicker. This game meant just as much to Sophie as it did to the Fever when Dana Bonner made her so-called big return. The difference? Sophie actually had fire in her eyes. Nobody else on Indiana came with that energy, that bite, that edge. She was jawing with Alyssa Thomas, trading barbs with Dana Bonner, and even getting into it with Kalia Copper, while the rest of her squad mailed it in like it was a slow Tuesday practice. Embarrassing? That's the polite word for it. The arena vibe for Fever fans felt like sitting through a bad movie you can't leave because you already paid for the ticket. You could see on people's faces the frustration, the disbelief, the why did I wear this jersey today? Look, while the Mercury were out there partying after every bucket like they just won Game 7. And this wasn't your shots just wouldn't fall kind of night. This was a full-blown systems failure. A crash test, dummy moment, showing exactly how thin Indiana's roster is when injuries start slicing it up. Speaking of which, Sydney Carlson goes down with a scary non-contact knee injury. And before the crowd can catch their breath, Ari McDonald is limping too. Now you're not just losing, you're holding the roster together with duct tape and crossed fingers. Meanwhile, Dana Bonner was in the middle of her personal revenge tour, dropping 23 points and making sure everybody in the arena knew she was feeling herself. She was talking about finding her edge like she just climbed Mount Everest, when in reality, she'd hit her first three-pointer in months, sprinted down the court, and called Lexi Hall a bum to her face. And no, that's not hearsay. That's exactly what went down. Bonner was staring players down, getting chippy with Sophie whenever they crossed paths, and generally playing the role of villain you love to hate. Her post-game comments? Oh, she was glowing, talking about rediscovering joy in basketball, talking about how she wasn't sure she loved the game anymore, talking about how the energy in that building reminded her why she plays. And Coach Nate Tibbetts? You'd think he just watched an epic sports movie. He was praising her veteran presence like she'd been saving all her power-up energy for this one night against Indiana. Every possession for Phoenix was personal. The trash talk was nonstop, the celebrations were dialed up to 11, and every defensive stop came with more side-eye to the Fever bench. Sophie kept that "homie" smirk going when Bonner tried to rattle her, but make no mistake, there was a lot more going on under the surface. When the final buzzer hit, the difference between the two teams was impossible to miss. This was all for today. Thanks for watching.